Has science disproven Christianity? Does the evidence that we find from nature show us that Christianity is unnecessary? Or has science poked holes in the Christian faith? So I'm going to look at three basic Christian tenets: that God created the universe, that the universe is designed for us, and that God created life, and see what current science has to say about those three areas. To again, see if science has disproven or made Christianity unnecessary. Well, what about the first Christian tenet, that God created the universe? What does science have to say about that? Well, for thousands of years, most people thought the universe was eternal, while the Bible was teaching the opposite, that the universe had a beginning. The standard model now says that all space, matter, time, and energy had a beginning. In fact, Alexander Vilenkin, a physicist at Tufts University, is quoted in 2012 as saying that all of the evidence, not some, but all of the evidence now points to the fact that the universe has a beginning. So evidence from cosmology supports one of the basic Christian tenets, that the universe had a beginning, which means that God could have created it. So what about the second tenet, that God designed the universe for us? What does physics say about that? Well, again, in the last 100 years, all the evidence that we find points to the fact that the universe is exceedingly and exquisitely fine-tuned, and all that fine-tuning seems to point to the universe being designed specifically for us, for life to exist on Earth. Paul Davis, a physicist at Arizona State University, wrote an entire book in 2006 asking the question, why is the universe just right for life? Other physicists have said things like the universe has a purpose and we're part of that purpose, or the universe must have known we were coming. So the second basic Christian tenet, that God designed the universe for us, is supported by physics and almost every other science as well. If we look at, for example, the formation of the moon, that had to be just exceedingly fine-tuned for Earth to end up with perfect conditions for life, for the moon to end up like it is, which makes the conditions perfect for life for us. And even the amount of water on the Earth prior to the collision had to be exquisitely fine-tuned. If the oceans would have been a little too deep, the collision would not have resulted in the Earth being capable of supporting us, and we wouldn't be here. So physics, chemistry, geology, astrophysics, all those areas are pointing to the fact that the universe is designed for life, for us to exist. And the question in the scientific community really has turned into who or what is responsible for the design. Well, God could be responsible for the design. So the evidence from physics, in terms of the fine-tuning of the universe, supports Christianity. It does not disprove it. And last one, what about God creating life? Well, when you hear biology, you might think, oh my gosh, evolution disproves Christianity. Well, first of all, it doesn't, but I'm not addressing that in this video. I'm just going to look at the origin of life. What does research into the origin of life say in terms of could God have created life or not? Well, again, the evidence here is pointing towards a creator. First of all, there's no evidence of a prebiotic chemical soup on Earth. If life occurred through some materialistic process, we should be able to find some chemicals in the oldest rock formations that somehow could have formed into the molecules necessary for life. Instead, what we're finding is that there was no prebiotic chemical soup. Dr. Stephen Benner, one of the leaders in synthetic biology, is quoted as saying that there either were no chemicals there, or they were so dilute, the concentration was so dilute that they couldn't have been of any use. Dr. James Tour, who's a leader in nanotechnology and synthetic chemistry, is quoted as saying that the more research we do into origin of life chemistry, the harder and harder it becomes. Not the easier it becomes, but the harder it becomes to explain it through some naturalistic process. So if we look at the Christian tenet that God created the universe, well, current cosmology supports that. Second basic Christian tenet, that God designed the universe for us. Well, current physics, chemistry, geology, all the fine-tuning evidence supports that. And we look at the third basic Christian tenet, that God created life on this planet. Well, evidence from origin of life is actually pointing to a creator and away from materialism. So science has not disproven Christianity, science has not made Christianity unnecessary, and science is not poking holes in the Christian faith.